with you look forward to some hilariously funny and delightful tall tales for the whole family. The winner tonight will walk away with $100 cash provided by one of our Toastmaster veterans, also one of our members and the president of the Marietta Toastmasters Club, Bill Ruggieri. So appreciate his contribution to that effort. Appreciate Warden Hodge lining up our celebrity judges tonight, and I'll just take a few moments to introduce them quickly. If you'd raise your hand so the folks will know who you are and appreciate it when I introduce you. Renee Harkins is with Citizens National Bank. She's been a cashier there for 35 years. Local Morgan County gal, one of my fellow schoolmates. Also,
not that old.
All right, Pam Morrow is with Morgan County Veteran Services. He's a veteran service officer for 12 years representing the interest of our local veterans. And also Michael E. Householder with People Bank. He's the branch manager there. And these are our panel of celebrity judges. Also coming up to talk to you for a few moments is Mike Snyder. He is the judge counselor tonight. So Mike, will you come up and say a few words? Let's make him welcome.
Oh my. I left all my paper. That's okay. We'll make the best of it. Okay. Tall Tales competition. This is something the Toastmasters have been doing for a very long time, though it's not an annual contest. It's just for things like this. And this is a perfect venue to have it in. The contestants will be judged on three different general areas with some specifics in between. One being content, meaning is your story funny, is your story enjoyable. The second being delivery, and that's the biggest part of it. It's how you use your voice, how you use your body, and how you tell the story and the language that you use. And finally, actual language that you use. That's a smaller part of it. You can take liberties with your colloquialisms in your Morgan County speech. That's all good, as long as it's clean. So those are going to be the criteria by which they will be judging you. Appreciate their help. Always difficult, but we will have a winner when this night is through. I appreciate all those in attendance. No need to be nervous. And let's just enjoy ourselves for the next 40 minutes or so. All right? Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I will add too that Mike is the president of our local Toastmasters Club. He's going through his second term, and appreciate him doing that as well. The timer, he mentioned the time. The timer is down here on my right, Sarah Snyder. To your left. Now, Sarah, why don't you hold that up so the good folks here can see your time. Just put your stuff down there and turn around and get ready to show those light switches, okay? All right, now, the green light will come on, the green light, at 5 minutes, okay? What that means is it's time probably to start winding down your tall tale. At 6 minutes, the yellow or orange light will come on right there in the middle. And at 6 minutes and 30 seconds, that red light will come on, all right? Then you have 30 seconds to wrap up your speech. If you go over 7 minutes, you will be disqualified. It is $100, you know, so we've got to draw a line somewhere. So, all right, thank you, Sarah. Sarah will be our timer. These speeches will not be in any particular order. We're probably working backwards in some way on our speeches. If you are speaking other than the first speaker tonight, we can have him come up the front. But if you're speaking, it'd be good if you can. Okay, so most of you probably want to come in the back. It's a little bit steep up here. If you don't mind the steps, that's fine, but they are a little bit steep. So, our first speaker tonight is... Okay, speak into the mic because the people in the back cannot hear you. So that adds another element, I know. But we're here for the audience enjoyment as well. So make sure you're into this mic here. You're welcome to use this stand. It is adjustable. You can lift it up, you can push it down, you can spin it around, whatever you need to do to get your point across. Our first speaker tonight is Jeff Michaels, and he's from Morgan County, and his speech title is The Master's Touch. He's going to be sharing from 5 to 7 minutes. Please make Mr. Michaels welcome.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
How many's ever been to an auction before? You hear that auctioneer singing? Well, when I was a meat hopper or a grasshopper, my grandparents used to take me to the auctions all the time. And this one auctioneer, he was really funny. He would always have a little joke. One of the jokes was about a guy that was arrested by the sheriff, and he was taken to the judge. And the judge said, "Are you the Joshua that made the sun to stand still?" He said, "No, I'm the Joshua that made the moon shine." And he would always have something, going. But the auctioneer, back in those days, if you go to scratch your head, oh, sold, you got to watch that. So I was always careful. If my head itched, I'd always scratch my arm. So, but the auctioneer, he just would do his thing, and I love auctions even to this day. This one particular auction I want to share with you, there was a violin, and it was an old violin, and it wasn't getting much bids. They would start out, who'll give $1, who'll give $2, who'll give $2 1/4, $2 1/2, $2.75. Do I hear a $3 bill? We're having an auction right now. And there just was hardly any bids. The violin just wasn't being moved the way it should be. But eventually there was an older gentleman from the back of the room, and he came up and he took the old violin and he wiped the dust off of that old violin. And he put that violin up to him, and he began to make music that would make angels sing. That music was reverberating through that room. It was causing joy on people's faces. That violin was bringing joy where there was sadness. And then the auctioneer, he began to sing again. Who'll give $1,000 for this violin, and who'll make it $2? Who'll give $3,000? I hear $3, I hear $4, now I hear $5,000. Who'll give $6,000 for this violin? What? And they were getting bids. What was it that changed the value of that violin? What was it that changed the value of that violin? It was the touch, my friend. It was the touch of the master's hand. And that is still true today. There is a master. His name is Jesus, and when he touches your life, he can change your life and put a value there that maybe you don't see today. So I would encourage you to reach out to the Lord. He is the master, and he is the one that can change value and place great value on you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. All right, Kurt Cable, All right, Kurt Cable's our next speaker.
All right, Kurt, let's go.
Let's give him a hand. He's going to speak in 5 to 7 minutes. And the title of Kurt's speech is My Hunting Story.
Well, as the long summer days turn into fall, it reminds me of a hunt I had one morning several years ago. The wife says, "Honey, we need some meat." So I took down the muzzleloader from above the fireplace and set out up the hollow there behind the house, just a sneaking along, looking to see what I could find, as hunters do, when all of a sudden I saw the movement here in the bushes out of the corner of my eye. I looked up, and there was one of the biggest buck deer I had seen in all of my born days. And I hunkered down on one knee, drawed old Betsy up and put the bead on that deer, when all of a sudden I saw some more movement. And there on a tree limb up there were some wild turkeys up there, about 4, and I thought, do I want venison or roast turkey for supper tonight? And I thought, such a good shot I am, one of the best in Morgan County, I think I can put 2 bullets down that muzzleloader of mine and shoot the deer and the turkey, all in the twinkling of an eye. Do you think I can do it? Well, let's find out. I drawed old Betsy up after I put that second bullet down in there, and squeezed the trigger off. And in the twinkling of an eye, faster than you can see, raised that gun up, and that second bullet came out. And before you could even say, Jack Scott, I was running up over the ridge there to see what had happened. And there, sure enough, that buck was laying right where I dropped him. That shot was dead on, and out of the corner of my eye I looked over there, and there was a cotton-tailed rabbit laying. You see, it seemed that first bullet went right through the deer, hit a rock, glanced over, killed that rabbit, and as I was looking at the rabbit, I felt something dripping down on top of my head. Usually out in the woods, if you feel something dripping on your head, it ain't good. Real gingerly, I tested it out here. It smelled good. It tasted good. It was pure wild bee honey. It seemed that bullet had hit another rock, glanced up there on the tree limb and knocked a hole in it, and pure bee honey was dripping down on top of my head. And then I remembered the turkey. I have to check the turkey. I ran over there, looked up, and that bullet had hit just a little bit low on a hickory limb, split that limb, and caught 1 foot of each of them wild turkeys. They was kind of hanging down upside down up there looking down at me. You know. As I looked up, I thought, I can take care of them turkey. But you see, already I got to run back to the homestead and get the wagon to haul my deer and my rabbit and some buckets to get some wild honey in and some wild turkey. And I was marching along Federal Creek there, that's where I live, and all of a sudden I heard a sound. Quack, quack, quack. And there was some ducks out there. Well, thinking quickly, like a mountain man does, I reached down, took a shoelace out of one of my shoes, and swam real gingerly out there underneath them ducks. And I tied one duck's foot, a knot in it, well, on a piece of that string, went over and tied a knot in another duck's foot till I had all them ducks tied together. And then all I had to do was just drag him right out on the bank. And I got out there on the bank, and I felt something flapping around inside my shirt. And I looked down, and there was about 3 big creek chubs down on the inside. Boy, I like fried fish. And one was even in my gum boot. I had fish and duck to add to the collection now. So I went back to the homestead, got the wagon, came back around, loaded the deer on, the rabbit on, got some honey out, climbed up there, cut down the limb, got them turkey down, loaded the duck on, and them fish, went back to the homestead. Folks, I'm here to tell you, that was a hunting trip that I won't forget. You know what? It's the truth.
That's a perfect table. We're going to have his son here later. See as well. All right, Howard Reed from Portersville is going to come and share with us now. His speech is entitled The Coon Hunt, and it will last from 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, no penalty for stopping early, but you don't want to go over 7. So let's make him welcome. Howard.
All right. Has anybody here been coon hunting before, or know anybody that went coon hunting in the old days? Well, I do happen to know a few people that do coon hunt, and you got to put your mind back in the day of like the 1960s, 1970s, and this coon hunt was about when there was a coon getting in the chicken coop at my grandpa's place. Called my dad, he said, hey, bring that coon dog over, there's a coon in the chicken coop, we gotta get that varmint. And so they got the dog and they treated the coon. So when they treated the coon, Grandpa said, just knock it out. So they took the rifle and they shot that coon out. Well, they missed the coon jumped out. Jumped out on top of the dog's back, went over the hill, into a fight, and they had carbide lights, okay? They had lanterns, and Grandpa had bib overalls on, and that Grandpa said, we gotta get over the hill there and get to that fight. So they ran over the hill and got to the dog fight, and instead of using a shell to kill the coon, shooting it in the head again, Grandpa told Dad, he said, you just hold that dog right there, don't turn it loose no matter what, and I'll kill this coon with this chain. So he took the dog chain, and Dad said he was facing this way. He had his hands around the coon dog so he wouldn't get away. Get this fixed here. Got to put in all the action here. So he's sitting like this, holding his dog, you know, and Grandpa said, don't turn that dog loose no matter what. and Grandpa's over here with the chain, cracking that coon in the head with the chain, trying to get it to die. And since Grandpa had bib overalls on, them bib overalls, their pant legs comes out like that, where the coon got away from it. Tried to get in his pant legs, so Grandpa took off. So Dad's sitting there like this, and it was in the spring of the year, I think, or in the fall. They heard heard Grandpa running clear up the holler out of hearing. And so he's sitting there with the lantern sitting there, and pretty soon here it comes back in the hearing. He runs by him, on out of hearing again. He's thinking, what is he doing? And finally, when he come back, Grandpa said, "Will you turn that dog loose, boy? I coon, he's going to kill me. I can't make another lap." So he turned the coon dog loose and got the coon, and they killed it the way it ought to be killed. So there's my story about the coon hunt that about got Grandpa. And that is a true story.
Enjoying yourself? Yeah. All right. Our next speaker tonight is Alan Angle, and he's going to be talking about hillbillyism. 4 to 7 minutes. Alan, come on up and share with us about hillbillyism.
All right, Alan.
Hillbillyism. That's what I call a lot of things that come from being a hillbilly. I brought a little prop with me. If any of y'all know the story, if any of y'all know what this is, it's a dulcimer. But the story of how a dulcimer came to be. When they came over, like the Scots and Irish, they didn't bring bagpipes with them. They didn't have money to send to get them. They didn't have anything to make them out of here. So they used what I call good old-fashioned hillbilly ingenuity. They invented a brand new instrument, a stringed instrument that sounds like that. That's one part of hillbillyism. Another part is these. I'm sure there was some good old hillbilly ingenuity in the development of bib overalls, which kind of dates back to the 1700s, only they didn't have the bib part. But that's another story. Bib overalls is a very versatile, durable piece of clothing. You get holes in it, you can patch it, you can use other pairs of old ones, put them together, 2 or 3, and make one. But they're also handy for events like this. You're walking around the fair, you know, you can stick a can of pop in here, nice deep pockets, lots of them, 2 sandwiches here, you know, something else there. When you run out of pockets, you pick up some of the handouts and bags, you can unhook the bib strap, hook them over there, shove stuff down in here, even start stuffing in the bib. So they're quite handy and versatile. Now I remember one time I was getting some wrapping paper at Family Dollar and ran out of hand room, and I just shoved it down the bibs, and I told him, I'm not shoplifting wrapping paper, I just ran out of room. Also, they're the perfect clothing to use for any occasion. You can use them in times of mourning, like funerals and weddings. You can use them in times of joy, like when you go to pick up that new calf you just bought. And there's one more thing about hillbillyism and hillbilly ingenuity. Well, one thing I was thinking about maybe inventing a formal pair, put a couple bow ties on each suspender, hillbilly bib pajamas, you know. Start your own company and make a couple million. And the third thing is this. It's more than, don't know how to say it. It's a way of life, you know. It's the down-homeness. Go all the way back to what we were founded on, what this country is about. It's helping your neighbor. When people helped each other build log cabins and barns. So it's not just a humorous story, it's the real deal, the real McCoy.
Ellie Miller, are you here tonight? Ellie Miller? Are you? Okay. Our next speaker tonight is Bill Ruggieri, and his speech title is Unbelievable, and he'll be speaking for 5 to 7 minutes. Let's make Bill welcome.
I'm Billy Bob Beaver, and I hail from Beaverton, Ohio. Now, we ain't had anybody famous. They named that town for it. Beaverton, Ohio is called Beaverton, Ohio because everybody living in Beaverton, Ohio has the last name of Beaver. And they're very serious about that. If one of our gal beavers wants to get hitched up, Lesson Herb Bow wants to change his name to Beaver. They can't live there after the hitching. Everybody is named Beaver. Oh, except for one man. He wants to be incognito, so we call him Cog. And he be the brewmaster for all that fine moonshine they make in Beaverton, Ohio. It's so good. That moonshine comes from the Mecca along the Ohio River, and we call it Ohio Valley Sunshine. Now we have just normal people up there. We have the good people, we have the bad people, and we have the roustabout kids. Well, a couple of our roustabouts stole a car the other night and took it for a joyride. And after they were done joyriding, they put it at the top of the ramp and let it go right down into the water. Now them dummies didn't know that was the car that was owned by the mother-in-law of the county sheriff. So the next day he was up there with a couple of his deputy sheriff divers, and they walked down and they put the hook on the car and pulled it up and saw a bunch of other cars were hooking and pulling and hooking and pulling. When they looked up, and here came a fish twice as long as a man is tall. And he had in his mouth the steering wheel of a 1967 Ford Mustang convertible. And his back end hung out over the back end of the car, and he was swishing his tail and driving that car right down the middle of the Ohio River. But it was okay, because he had the headlights on. Those deputy sheriffs, one sheriff hooked up the car, the other sheriff put a rope in his mouth, jumped up on top of that fish, took his hat off and was whomping them like they were in the Kentucky Derby. That fish took him down to the end of the river by the dam, flipped him off, slapped him a couple times just to insult him, and turned around and headed back up the river. And he was heading so fast that when he got to where they had the cars, he jumped right out of the river, grabbed that steering wheel of that 1967 Mustang convertible, and drove it right back down into the water. Now I know all you wonderful people saying, that's a lie. But it ain't, it's the truth. And I'll tell you how you prove it. You go down to the St. Mary's Bridge, and you go out to the middle of the bridge, and you look down into the water. Wait. Pretty soon, you'll see some lights coming down under the water, and it'll go under the bridge. Wait. Those lights are going to come up and under the bridge and be heading up the river. But let me give you a little secret. Be very, very quiet. Because if you're quiet, you might hear some music. Because would you believe that fish is not only driving that 1967 convertible on the bottom with the river with lights on, but now he's playing the radio. Mr. Contest Master.
Thank you, Bill. All right, our next speaker this evening is Elijah Cable, and he is talking about his incredible chicken, and he's going to be speaking from 4 to 7 minutes. Let's make Elijah welcome.
Well, you all know how Morgan County has a lot of small homesteaders. I'm going to tell you my experience with chicken farming. Well, I always heard that Miracle Grow worked real good on plants, so I decided to try it on chickens. Well, after about 2 months that I mixed a little bit of Miracle Grow with my chicken feed, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I couldn't believe it. The house was shaking like we had a tornado, a hurricane, and an earthquake all at the same time. Well, I jumped out of bed and put three pieces of cotton in both of my ears and put on my earmuffs. And I looked out the window, and there, coming out of the roof of the chicken coop, was a humongous chicken head. And the sides of the coop were caving in, and the other chickens were running, and they looked like insects compared to this chicken. And then all of a sudden it started to go crazy. And I knew right then that it was going to lay an egg. And by golly, I was right. It laid the biggest egg that I ever saw in my life. Well, I put on my cap and I ran outside, and I touched it, and then I kicked it, and then I punched it. It didn't do anything. Well, then I got my crowbar and I started banging on it. It didn't do anything. Well, then I got my sledgehammer. Still nothing. Well, then I went inside and I called the fire department. And I said, bring some equipment. I got this humongous egg and I can't get it cracked. And I need to get it cracked before it spoils. So they showed up, and the jaws of life didn't do diddly squat on this egg. So then I went and I called the rental company. And I said, bring the biggest tractor and auger that you got. So we put some metal planks up against the side of that chicken, and we drove the tractor right on top of that chicken and started drilling. 24 hours of straight drilling, and we had a hole on the top of that egg. Well, then we needed something to cook it in. So I called the water department, and I said, we need one of those great big water towers. And I said, well, I got one, but it's $5,000. And I said, bring it down. So a couple of hours, a couple of men, and a couple of torches, and we had ourselves a humongous frying pan. Well, then we ran to Kroger's and we got 45 gallons of vegetable oil. And we pulled that ladder truck up around that water bin, and we had the firemen go out and swab that bin real good out with vegetable oil. Well, then we hooked up the water pump. And we put it down in that egg, and the other end way up in our big frying pan, and we started to pump it. 5 hours of straight pumping, and we had that humongous frying pan full to the brim. Well, then I ran down to the farm shed, and we got a gallon of gasoline, and we put some logs up under that, and we put some gas on it and torched it, and we had a big fire, and we started cooking. So then I sent the fireman up against the catwalk around the bend again, and I had him stir that egg with pole voting poles. And pretty soon, it started to burn, and I had a problem. How are we going to get rid of an egg this size? So I ran in the house and called the presidents of the FFA, the PTA, the VFW, the FOE, the YMCA, and the Boy Scouts of America. And then I called the preachers of the Baptist, the Holiness, and of course the Church of Christ. Well, they each took about 300 pounds each, and we still had a ton of that egg left. So we ate some, and we froze some, and we give some more away. And finally, we got rid of that egg. Well, I had just experienced an adventure that I did not want to experience again. So we had to kill that great big old hen, and then we had 1,500 pounds of chicken meat and 4 semi-loads of feathers to deal with. But that's a whole nother story.
Will you come back and tell that whole another story next year? All right. Our next speech is by Jim Pate. He's going to be sharing from 5 to 7 minutes. The title of his speech is, Can You Go to School? Jim, let's make him welcome.
All right. Mr. Contest Chair, and all you fantastic folk out there, can you go to school? That was one of the things that was asked to me way back when I was just a little guy. Yeah, I went to school. My second grade teacher liked me so much. I played the sandbox all day. It was the best. But then again, there was third grade. I did so well in that grade that I took it twice. With the help of my fantastic parents, I managed to struggle my way through, and I got into high school and managed to get through high school. And then I went to college. And guess what? Basically, I'm a city brat. And I came to West Virginia to go to school. When you're in college, I want to be in a fraternity. So I really worked hard at getting the grades, because you had to be a 2-point average, grade point average, to pledge a fraternity. I failed. I was not supposed to make it, but I made it. So I pledged that fraternity, and I had a good time. We went rally around all over. And I still managed somehow to have that fantastic 2-point average. And an individual, they put up a course for young people who weren't quite doing so well. They call it a learn and study course. We're going to teach you how to learn to study. Well, that was the course for me. How they did it was they had this course to teach you how to learn to study, along with a regular college course. So I volunteered to take that. I went to summer school. Basically, I went to summer school every summer because that was the only way that I did get through it. If you cut the hours back far enough, you can do a lot. But I got down there and they gave me this wonderful test. All you young folk have to take this wonderful test to go to college. And then somebody sits there and evaluates that test. Oh, we'd like you to come here, or yeah, it's okay. You can have a chance to come here. Well, this particular professor that I had, he gave us, not so good students, this test. And he had a little conference with each one of us. And I did my usual thing. I showed up 5 minutes early. Well, walked into that classroom and there was a little office off to the side, and I sat down in the chair to wait my turn for my conference. And I feel sorry for the young man that was ahead of me. I mean, he was really giving his kid a hard time. Poor kid apparently was wasting his dad's money. He should be a B+ student, and he didn't even have C's. After a little bit of a discussion, the young man walked out. It was my turn to walk in there. I walked in, sat down, and I'm Jim Payton. You're Jim Payton. Real quiet for a little bit. Man looked at me, and he says, "What are you doing here?" And I told him, "I'm here to get an education." "You shouldn't even be here." And I kind of had the last little conversation in my mind. And I looked at him and I said, "Mr. Professor, I believe this class was set up to help individuals learn how to study so that they could get it done a little bit easier." And he said, "Yes." And I said, "That means all the students that are here, other than maybe a few, they didn't make the grade last 2 semesters, did they?" "Yes." "How about you just look down your little paper and see what my grade point average is?" And I'll tell you, he looked up at me and I said, "You can give me any test you want. But that test," and this goes for everybody, particularly every youngster here, "that test will never tell anyone how much you desire to get it." Mr. Contest Chairman.
Ellen Boone is our last speaker tonight. Have I left anybody out? Ellen, 5 to 7 minutes, a string of beads and a banana.
I lived in a large city in northern Ohio until I was about 13 years old.
Ellen, put the mic up to your, thank you.
Now can you hear me? Okay. I grew up in a large city in northern Ohio. I'm the oldest of a very large family. But at the time of the story, there were only 3 of us. There was myself and 3 going on 4. There was my brother Patrick, who was 2, and the littlest brother, Mike, And then my mother was pregnant for my sister, so we were just little stair steps. We lived in Toledo, Ohio, and at this particular beautiful fall day, we were all outside playing. We had a nice fenced-in yard, and my mother had to go into the house for a bit with the baby, and so she left me with my brother Pat, who she put in the crib, or actually the playpen outside. It was easy for me to just put him in the toys. I wasn't very happy with that job because I wasn't very fond of my brother Patrick. It's not that I didn't love him, he was just different. I felt sorry for my family. I was very fair, I had white blonde hair down past my waist. My baby brother Mike was again a little fair boy with little white hair that looked like you could just blow the top like a white dandelion and hair would go everywhere. And there was Patrick, a little olive-skinned boy with big brown eyes and absolutely not a hair on his head. And he was whiny to boot. And so there I was, in charge of Patrick. And that day, as I'm outside, this group of people came to our gate. They were beautifully dressed in all kinds of beads and baubles and lovely material, and I went down the sidewalk to talk to them. And you have to understand, back in those days, there was no such thing as stranger danger. We talked to all kinds of people. Adults were someone you respected and spoke to. And in fact, my father, at least once a month, brought home what were then called hobos, or tramps, to share a meal at our table. My family, looking back, I realized we probably were not very well off, but we always had plenty to eat. My mother was a very good cook, and they always believed that sharing with everyone. So there was always a stranger at our table. And so it wasn't unusual for me to speak to someone, so I went to the gate to talk to these wonderful people, and in our conversation, they decided they would like to buy or have my brother Patrick. Now, for all of the women in the audience, I realize that your heart just goes to the bottom of your chest, like, oh my goodness. For me, my heart flew right out of my chest with excitement because I went, yes, we have the solution. Now, Patrick was born with a veil over his face, which is a little membrane that sometimes happens for some children. It's just pulled away. And the old superstition is that these are the children that can see into the future. It actually turned out to be true for my brother Pat, but I just thought God had covered his face, so he just didn't have to look at him when he made the rest of it. So when these people came along, it was perfect. He fit right in, and they actually took him. They wrapped him up. Now for me, I had prayed. I was just a little girl going on 4, and my main prayer to God every day was, if I could have a little white kitten, and something could be done about my brother Patrick. I figured the cat was coming any day. So the gypsies, yes, a band of gypsies they were. I sold my brother to a band of gypsies for a banana and a string of beads, and I thought I came way up. I put the beads on, took the banana, went back to the porch. They took my brother, gave him a kiss goodbye. I thought he would be happy ever after. And I ate the banana in anticipation of the wonderful reaction that my mother would have when I went in to tell her the great news that I found a place in her. The story after this is a little bit vague because I remember my mother did not react the way I thought she would when I told her that Patrick had gone to live with the gypsies. I do vaguely remember that she probably looked hysterical, a very big pregnant woman with one baby under one arm and my arm being pulled from the socket as we went to live with the gypsies. I do know that we got my brother back, and that I had to give up the string of beads. It was too late for the banana. And so my brother and I and our family laugh about it to this day, but I have to say that my brother Pat, we're all older now, my brother Patrick still has big brown eyes, no hair, he still whines some, and I ever so often reflect on how beautiful that string of beads probably is.
Sarah, if you'll hand me that notebook down there, that red one. All right. Mike, you need to gather with your judges now. Do you have anything to add before we do some of the interviews? Okay. Kurt? Still here? Come up here a second. I got a question for you. This is the interview phase. We take some time to do this. Get a little more familiar with our speakers this evening that shared with it. You have interest broom making, gardening, hiking, and homesteading. What inspires you most? Your faith in the Lord. And what is your favorite quote? America's pulpit ceased to be great. America will cease. When America's pulpit ceased to be great, America will cease to be great. Would you share with the audience why you feel that way tonight?
This one does work, don't it? I don't know. You know, a journey of faith takes a lifetime, and the more I learn about the Word of God, I learn that God really does know what He's doing. And not only in our lives, but in countries' lives. As you look down through history, how God would raise up a nation to bring judgment on another nation, and just how He brings everything together. And I don't know who made that quote right there. Somebody out there might, and I remember reading that and I thought, how true that is. We need good preachers in America's pulpits today to keep the moral foundation of our country where the forefathers had. I believe that. I believe that, Rick, tonight.
Howard Reed. Howard, come up here. Howard did a speech on the coon hunt. And I notice here it says you're a country music entertainer and you sing and play traditional country music. What inspires you most? People who tell the truth. And what is your favorite quote? You can't talk sense to someone who don't have any sense. All right? So why don't you tell us your favorite traditional country music song and why it's your favorite one?
I've sung down here at this fair for a few years. I used to sing up there at the High Valley Opry. Matter of fact, I was one of the original singers for that show. And then Mike Sigler, the steel guitar player, went his own way, so I play over at Lancaster at his show once in a while, traditional country music. There Stands a Glass was recorded back in the 60s. It's an old honky-tonk tune. I like honky-tonk tunes. I can sing it somewhat decent. It draws people, and I just like the melody of a steel guitar and a fiddle together in the old traditional country music style, because it's a dying breed, and it takes a different, I'm going to say a different level of voice to sing them older songs, like a George Jones tune or a Merle Haggard tune, you know. And it always draws a crowd, and if we can put smiles on people's faces and make them forget about their problems for whatever time we're on stage, then we did our job. But that quote, you can't talk sense to somebody that ain't got any sense. If you think about that, my grandpa told me that a long time ago, and it's true. That if someone don't have no sense, you can't talk sense to them. So there you go.
Thank you. Or one of my fellow employees at work, MEBA, Bob McCune, says, you can't fix stupid. All right, Mike, do you have some results for us yet?
Not yet.
Okay, he's still coming. Jeff Michaels. Jeff Michaels, come on back up here. All right. Says your favorite quote is, with God all things are possible. Give us an idea of what you mean by that, or a personal experience you may have that gives testimony to that.
Okay. I'm not originally from Morgan County, so nothing against the Morgan local schools. But where I was from, when I was in high school, I had to take some kind of an aptitude test. To give you an example of some of the things I went through in life. In this aptitude test, you do a printout from some kind of psychology association or whatever, and it actually gave occupations you probably could do and ones that you probably couldn't do. And I remember reading on there, doctor, scientist, all that stuff. I couldn't do that. You could do bus driver and all this and the other, you know. And so I just never, my parents didn't go to college, and I wasn't really pursuing college. But then as I fell in love with the Lord, began to read the scriptures, some things began to come to me. It's like, the scriptures talk about pursuing knowledge, pursuing wisdom, and at any cost. And it's like, well, and then I heard a preacher say one time, if you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it? And I was like 38 years old, I believe it was, when I went to college. And I've got a degree in microbiology, and I guess I pursued that because I do like the sciences, and microbiology is the study of viruses, bacteria, that kind of thing. I'm interested in little things because I believe it's little things that matter. Acorns grow into large oak trees, big doors swing on small hinges. And I believe it's very important when we're talking about seeds, this is an agricultural community, when we're sowing seeds, I think it's very important to sow the right seeds into our young people to let them know that with God all things are possible.
All right. Bill? Come on up. Some of Bill's interests, hobbies, he's an advocate for abused children. And what inspires him most is challenges. What's his favorite quote? Be afraid to die until you have won victory for humanity. One victory for humanity. Bill, have you won that victory yet?
We're after the victory for humanity, but tonight I am going to be like Mr. Snowden, who is over in Russia, and I am going to tell you America's best protected secret. Are you ready? America is #1 in the world for abused children. #1. And my darling wife and I have an organization called Grandparents United for the Rights of Children. And we use that organization to fight in every state we can, in every court we can, to bring abuse to the poor light and to try to get it stopped. Any of you want to join us? Give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Keep up the good work. Alan, you close? Mike, you getting close? You're done? He's done. All righty. I do want to thank Thaddeus for running sound tonight. Appreciate it. I'm sure he had. Let's give him a hand for Actually, this evening we have 3 awards, the first of which is bottom top. Oh, okay. Very good. All right. The third place winner tonight for the Tall Tales Contest, Morgan County Communicators Club 2014 is Bill Ruggieri. Bill? We'll keep our contest winners up here for a picture as well, okay? So, Bill, congratulations. Our second place winner tonight for the first annual Morgan County Communicators Tall Tales Contest 2014 is Kurt Cable. Kurt? I need the frame with the $100 bill in it back there, Mike. You want to grab it? Yes, this is real money. Okay, now I want the contest winner to know that the fellow who put this together behind this real $100 bill is a replica portrait of a $100 bill. So this can be hung on your wall, and it still looks like the $100 bill is still in the frame. If you want to keep it in the frame, you're certainly welcome to do that. I wouldn't. All right. So, our first place winner this evening, and I do want to thank our judges, Renee and Pam and Michael Householder, for judging tonight. Our first place winner, drum roll please, is Elijah. The event tonight, and if you're ever able to come to a Toastmasters Club meeting, we meet the first Tuesday of each month, or the second Tuesday of each month at the Kate Love Simpson Library from 7 to 8:15. Be glad to have you as our guests. Our meetings are open to the public. Thank you for coming tonight. Let's give our winners another hand, all right?
Good job, judges.